Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Caleb again. This morning's topic is toxic masculinity. I have some experience on both sides with toxic masculinity. For me, it means it's a set of behaviors that perpetuate some real negative outcomes. Misogyny, and really, it's not even. I guess I want to move away from misogyny is a real thing. I'm preaching to the choir on that, I think, but it's beyond oppression of women because I've seen gay men engage in toxic masculinity with other men by objectifying them, by comparing you're less than or whatever, and I've seen straight men do it as well with women, objectifying women. And toxic masculinity is wrapped up in homophobia, I believe, and transphobia, and it really, like, when I've engaged in it, and I've engaged in it, it was to prove something about myself. It was because usually I was feeling very dysphoric, but instead of looking at my feelings, instead of looking at my part, I'm busy trying to figure out how I'm not as bad as I feel, and making sure other people are aware that I'm better than them. I mean, it's just this ridiculous, sick cycle. Being in therapy has helped me to see that tremendously, and having a spiritual life has also helped me kind of give me a place to work away from. For me, being spiritual, having a spirituality and a religious practice kind of grounds me. It gives me a safe place to work from where I know I'm inherently loved. I believe I'm inherently loved, so then that frees me up to look at the less than beautiful parts of myself, the parts that are toxic. So I was raised in a abusive childhood. We moved a lot. My dad was definitely stuck in some toxic masculinity, and that was the family he came from. And he cheated on my mom, and it was womanizing and domestic violence, and my way or the highway, and you didn't cook the meal right, so I'm the man. I have the right to throw stuff across the room. I didn't realize that was abnormal until I was an adult, well into my adult years. I didn't come out and start transitioning until I was 37. So all those years, I thought that's how men are supposed to be, and men who are not like that aren't really men. And that contributed to a lot of my own internal struggle of, well, I can't be a man because I don't want to hurt people. Wow, I can't, like, now thinking about it at 41 years old, thinking, God, that's really sick. That's so sick. And I didn't realize how sick I was. I have a little more awareness now, so I can being aware of my own toxic masculinity tendencies, and where they come from. And like I said, for me, it comes from my feelings of inadequacy. I do have dysphoria still. I have ways to deal with it now. I am in therapy. So all of those things together, I have to sit and look at, why do I think it's okay to laugh at the stupid jokes that are demeaning women or that are homophobic. Stand up and say something. So now I'm more able, I stand up and say something now. No, that's not okay. An example of, like, before and after being aware of my own toxic masculinity is I really did used to believe the nonsense that I didn't understand my own gender, but I really used to believe the nonsense that a masculine lesbian was just pretending to be a man or trying to be a man, and a feminine gay man was just pretending to be a woman. And that was long before I came out. I was hiding in some very sick establishment lines of thinking. And I'm not trying to condemn anybody or talk down anybody. I'm just sharing my experience of it was cool to fit in, and I desperately wanted to fit in somewhere. So I went along with the stupid jokes. I went along with the hateful rhetoric. I went along with, slurs. Um, that's really hard to admit. Like, it's really shameful to say that, but I did those things. Um, and now I can sit back and say, God, I can't throw stones. I can't condemn other people for toxic masculinity, because I can still see it in myself. I can still see that tendency in myself to want to go in that direction, simply to fit in, simply to be for my own personal happiness, which there's nothing wrong with me being happy. But ultimately, when I engage in toxic masculinity, and I go along with the stupid jokes, and I demean women, I just happen to be attracted to women. So I, objectify women or demean women, or, you know, um, make fun of a male whose masculinity may not be stereotypically masculine, um, to make myself feel better. I'm being the bully that I used to hate when I was younger, being bullied because it caused me harm, and now I'm doing it again. I have and I hope that made sense. I have this opportunity to break that cycle. I have the opportunity to not be the kind of man my father was, or my grandfather was, or my uncles were on my dad's side. Very mean, violent, hateful, arrogant, misogynistic, womanizing. It was just, a very sick atmosphere. I still see it perpetuating in other areas, but I have a choice not to engage in that. So for me now, I've had to redefine what masculinity was. What does it mean to be a man? Um, and it's going to be unique to each one of us. There's no blanket statement. I can't say, men do X, Y, and Z, because it's just not true. Um, for me, the breakthrough came when I was at church, and a young boy, was a very sensitive-hearted little boy, who has some serious health issues, and he's had to undergo several major surgeries, and he is the happiest, most high-spirited, bundle of joy. He's a 10-year-old little boy, um, and some of us were discussing him and praying for him, and it struck me. Because they keep calling him this little boy, and he is a little boy, but what struck me was this tender-hearted little boy that cries at the drop of a hat is the strongest man at this parish. And it took me a minute to figure out what I was, what? Yeah, no, this little tender-hearted boy that is not tall, is not strong, is not, loud, is, the antithesis of everything that is defined as masculine and mainstream, and even in my own toxic masculine thinking that I'm still needing to change some of it. I need to be aware of it, so I can change it. This little boy is the strongest man in our parish. I guess I just wanted to leave the video on that note, just what that means, and anyone can take it the way they want. But I guess that's what the defining moment for me was looking at an innocent child going, but everything that he's gone through, and he still gives of himself, and he still loves, and he still smiles, and he still laughs. Yeah, wow. And he's male because he says he is. And the same for me. I'm a man because I say I am. How I express that doesn't change my identity. It might not be something that another person understands as male, but that in no way changes me. And so I don't have to, womanize or demean women or be homophobic or transphobic. Any of it. I just don't have to be violent. I don't have to be ugly. Excuse me. I don't have to be a bully to prove that I'm a man. I am a man. I just am. And if that's not something that is believable or understood by people, then perhaps those people aren't my people to hang out with. That's really all that means. And then I need to move on to find my tribe, if you will, my group of people that I belong in. So, Yeah, hope that made sense. A little bit of a long video today, but thanks for watching. Post comments. Be sure to click the subscribe button, and if you would like to become a paperboy and do something like this, leave me a comment. I'll get you connected with Ty. Thanks. Have a good one.